Okay, today's lesson, finishing up the chapter, we will be working with subtracting fractions. So just like yesterday with the adding, we will start with our like denominators, so our like fractions. Evaluate x minus y when x equals 3/5 and y equals -4/5. So every evaluation problem, we start, rewrite the problem. Then we show our substitution. We need to make sure we're not forgetting this step. 3/5 minus -4/5, and put that in parentheses to emphasize that it's a negative. Now just like before, we're going to change our subtraction into addition. So rewrite 3/5 plus, change subtraction to addition, then change the next sign, so negative becomes positive. And now it's a question just like yesterday, 3/5 plus 4/5. We can keep, take it up here, keep your denominator at 5. 3 plus 4 gives us 7. We want to fully simplify by making this a mixed number. So 5 goes into 7 one time with a remainder of 2 over 5. Check. Can we simplify anything else? No. So final answer 1 2/5. Alright, so that's a little example of subtracting fractions with like denominators. Very similar to adding with like denominators. You are just going to subtract your numerators, denominator stays the same, fully simplify at the end. Okay, so subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. So just like yesterday, I need to think about what can I change an 8 and a 4 into so that they have the same denominator. Well, I know that 4 times 2 gives me an 8, so we multiply numerator and denominator by 2. 3/8 would stay the same, minus 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 2 is 8. We now have like denominators. I'm going to rewrite it as an addition problem, so subtraction becomes addition, positive becomes negative. 3 plus -6 is -3, and denominator stays an 8. 3 and 6 do not reduce, 3 and 8 do not reduce, so -3/8 is our final answer. Alright, next one, 3/4 minus 8/9. Okay, so again, I see I have a 4 and I have a 9. They are unlike denominators. We need to make them like denominators. Simplest thing to do here is just multiply your denominators together. So over here, we're going to multiply numerator denominator by 4. Over here, numerator denominator by 9. So 9 times 3 gives us 27 over 36, minus 8 times 4 is 32 over 36. We can rewrite this as an addition problem, so 27, 36 plus -32, 36. 27 plus -32 gives us a -5 over 36. 5 and 36 do not reduce. So there is your final answer, -5/36. -5/36. So as you see here, if you can't see a smaller number, like we did over here where 8 and 4 go together, you can always just cross these. Take whatever this denominator is, multiply top and bottom over here. Whatever this denominator is, multiply top and bottom over here. That will always work. You just might have extra simplifying at the end, which again is fine. Okay, so what is the sum of -3 and 5/6 plus 2/3? This is a little review of yesterday. I don't want to work with a mixed number, so multiply, add, 6 times 3 plus 5. We have a -23 over 6 plus 2/3. Well, I know that I can multiply 3 by 2 to get 6. Always make sure you do numerator and denominator, so times 2 times 2. -23, 6 plus 4, 6. I have 23 negatives, I have 4 positives. That leaves me with, bring it up here, -19 over 6. And we know we don't want to leave that as an improper fraction, so 6 goes into 19 3 times, so -3, remainder of 1, so negative 3 1/6, that does not reduce any further, so our final answer, go ahead and box it or circle it, negative 3 1/6. Alright, final question of this chapter. Juliana bought a container of licorice. She gave 2/5 of the licorice to her friend, 2/10 to her sister, and kept the rest for herself. What fraction of the licorice did she keep for herself? Write an equation to represent the situation, then solve the equation. Make sure you show your work. Okay, so she started off with a whole container, so 1 whole container. Then she gave 2/5 to her friend. We'll go through, circle these. So she gave away 2/5, that's minus 2/5, and then gave away 2/10 to her sister, so minus another 2/10 equals what she has left for herself. Talking about licorice, so we're going to call it L. So let L be the amount of licorice. Okay, now we need to solve this. I know you guys don't have a lot of space, you might have to write a little small here. Okay, so we need to get like denominators. First off, 1 can be rewritten as 1/1. So we have a 1, we have a 5, we have a 10. Well, 1 and 5 both go into 10, so what do I multiply 1 by? To get 10. There's your equation, by the way, that's the first part of the problem. So times 10 times 10. So 1 will be rewritten as 10 over 10 minus, I'm going to multiply our 5 by 2. Always remember numerator and denominator. So rewrite 2/5 as 4/10 minus 2/10. We already have the denominator of 10 equals L. Okay, now we have to go through and start subtracting. This is just going to be a straight up subtraction problem, so we don't need to rewrite it as addition this time. We know our denominator is going to be 10. Okay, so 10 minus 4 gives me 6/10 minus 2/10. 6 minus 2, we have 4/10 equals L. Now, reduce this. They're both divisible by 2. So, she kept 2/5 of the container. And you will have a test question very similar to this. So make sure you understand this. If you didn't quite understand it, make sure you ask questions in class tomorrow. Alright, that is the end of chapter 3. Test coming up soon. Make sure you're studying that vocab.